responses. That again, we're attributing that to our captain responding from that station to incidents in other parts of the authority, and then also just the rescue company assisting the other units with responses from there. But again, 489 of those incidents we had 680 responses as a whole within Metro. Any questions on the statistics before I get into the annual report? Okay. All right, you should have an electronic copy of the annual report. Just shy of 30 pages. I'm just going to hit on some of the highlights. So I'll jump over to page 3 within my message. Just a couple things that I point out. Obviously, I'm very, very proud of being part of this organization, and the report highlighting all the work that our personnel have done throughout the year. We truly couldn't do that without the support of our board, obviously members of this board and the other townships, and we do appreciate that support. Was a busy year in 2025. We did respond to 7,014 incidents. That represented an 11% increase from the previous year, so that was a pretty significant increase. We know that calls are going up for all of our emergency services agencies and law enforcement, but that again was probably one of the largest increases that we've seen in a little while. So with that in mind, again, we're looking at planning, future strategic planning, looking at our facilities, our stations, our locations, and pretty much how we're deploying and preparing to deal with that growth. Moving beyond that, there's a little bit about us, but again, you're familiar with the 5 stations and 110 square miles serving the 3 townships. On our mission, vision, values, obviously our mission continues to be serve our community by safeguarding life and property from fire and any other hazard or emergency that we can deal with. Our vision is again to be progressive leaders within emergency services, provide those high quality services to our community. And our values essentially is our commitment to excellence in what we do, and safe, effective deployment of resources, and providing again those services to our community. Moving on to page 7, I'm going to jump. We have an overview of our organization showing the makeup of it, and then highlighting our divisions, how we're broken up with our operations division and our fire prevention division. I'll comment a little bit on each of those divisions and some of the activity. Moving page 8, our financial overview. Our budget in 2025 was just over $7 million. You can see a breakdown of our expenses, 71% of those being personnel costs, and then operations capital 8%. As you can see, debt payments at 5%, and a number of other services there. We continue to stay at the 2.75 mil, supported by the townships. A couple other things to note. We did generate some money through plan reviews, which I'll get into specifics later in the report. Some investment earnings with our money that's set aside in our public improvement fund. And then we did have $409,000 in earnings totaled with those investments from the sale of surplus equipment. So our strategic investment, we met over $381,000 in scheduled debt obligations. We put $350,000 down on the ladder truck, which we should be receiving by June this year, the new ladder truck, which we're looking forward to. And then we did some investments in our stations, some smaller investments, $38,000 there. You know where our stations are, our incident map on page 10. I'm going to jump over to our call volume on page 12. Just some interesting facts here. Top graph, you can see our time of day that we have our highest number of call, 2 times during the day, between 10 and 2, or between 10 and noon, and then between 2 and 4 are kind of our peak times for calls throughout the year. Just times of days when we seem to be the busiest, not the middle of the night. Our call volume, the busiest days of the week, are Tuesdays and Thursdays. A lot of times people assume that they're going to be weekends, Saturday nights, etc., but those are our busiest days of the week. And then our busiest months of the year are the middle of the summer. June, July, August are quite high, and then obviously we have January gets a little bit high. In October, we're in the 600 plus calls a month. That does bring us to an average of 19 calls per day for service. Turning to page 13, just want to highlight within our fire operations, our firefighters and officers completed over 10,000 hours of training, and they do that across a wide range of disciplines. There was a very strong emphasis on firefighter development and fire officer continuing education. At the bottom graph, we did note here, you can see, again, 72% of our calls were the rescue and EMS, so that represented over 5,000 calls. Moving on, fire operations, a couple interesting facts just to point out. 66% of our EMS incidents were for township residents. I know there's a lot of emphasis on us being, a tourist type community, that type of destination, but again, 66% of those emergency medical incidents were for township residents. 27 basic life-saving medications were used 27 times. Fun fact, 104 was the oldest patient that we treated. And we did have 20 successful resuscitations. That's a return of spontaneous circulation, or what you would constitute as a save within the year. So some good stats there. Moving on to our fire prevention division, we're going to highlight the 3 E's of prevention. Our enforcement is our inspection, our plan review. Our engineering that we utilize is the engineering of new buildings and the fire protection systems, and our plan review process to reduce life safety risks. And then education, we obviously offer a number of programs, including CPR, fire extinguisher training, car seat installations, our smoke alarm checks, etc. So there's a lot that our fire prevention division does. They also conduct our fire investigations to determine cause and origin. On the next page, on 18, there's some statistics there. We have a little bit of breakdown of the inspection type and activity. You can see it here. We have our re-inspections, our annual inspections, permanent inspections, etc. We have that broken down by township. If you look at Garfield Township, we had over 1,800 total inspectional activities throughout the year. There's a breakdown of those types of those annual inspections, which represented 509 of those in the graph down below. But I do want to point out, in 25, we did have the retirement of our longtime plans examiner, Kathy Fordyce, and then we were able to fill her position after her retirement with Chris Wilkes, who's our new plans examiner, and Chris is doing extremely well. So very happy to have him and have gotten him throughout the year. Just a little bit of information about our plan review permit fees. We generated just under $80,000 in revenue. 15,000 of that came from projects outside Metro. As you may remember, we do have a service agreement with the county, and where we do provide that plan review services outside our jurisdiction for other townships such as Blair Township, which did experience a lot of growth in 2025. Some data on 19 about our fire inspection investigation. We did cover some of that, just some interesting facts. Top causes of building structure fires: number 1 is cooking, number 2 is electrical equipment failure, and number 3 is smoking. Of our calls and our data in 25, we did have 5 civilian injuries and 1 firefighter injury, but no deaths. Our Safe Neighborhoods program, we're continuing that program. In 25, we visited 91 homes. We checked just under 350 alarms. We found 85 of them non-functioning, and 25 houses with no working smoke alarms at all. So we did install 249 smoke alarms, 54 carbon monoxide alarms, and 2 disability smoke alarms. Moving to page 21, public education. I'll note today is actually the 1-year anniversary or work-anniversary for Katie Barecki as our new fire and life safety educator, and she's just doing an awesome job, and we're so happy to have her. Some of the work that she accomplished throughout the year: we had 157 car seats checked, 91 friends and family CPR people attended those, 260 attended our fire extinguisher classes, and 184 people attended our balance classes, our matter of balance. So, and again, with that being our #1 EMS incident type, that's an extremely valuable class for our seniors. Moving on with public education, out of our community outreach events, we had over 2,400 attendees. In our school programs, Katie had over 4,700 attendees at our school programs. So doing a lot of good work there. Stop the Bleed classes and our youth fire setter prevention classes. We had a number of those. And again, our car seats, we did distribute a number of car seats. Moving on, we have pictures of our team who we're very proud of. You have the opportunity there. And then on page 27, we did a couple notable items from the year. We did award on July 26, 2025, our crews responded to the Walmart incident. We did issue a unit citation for all the personnel that did operate at that scene, and just in recognition of their meritorious service and the performance of their duties during the incident. So we know, working again with our other emergency responders and our sheriffs, that lives were saved that day. Captain Spencer Scanlon did complete Eastern Michigan University Staff and Command Program. Again, that's a 10-month program, a lot of hours of training, focusing on leadership and personnel management. So really, really proud of Spencer. He does a lot of good things for us, and hopefully a lot more to come in the future. And last but not least, on January 28th this year, we did have our Of the Year awards ceremony where we recognized 4 of our members. We recognized Lieutenant Kyle Clute for the Chief Wayne Hanna Memorial Fire Prevention Award. We recognized firefighter Peter Bean as the EMS Provider of the Year, and Lieutenant Mike Thomas as the Fire Officer of the Year, and firefighter Doug Dombeck as the Firefighter of the Year. Very proud of those members and all the other members that were nominated for those awards. I know it was fairly quick, but are there any questions that I can answer?
Nice report.
Thank you. A lot of hard work put in by our staff, members of the administrative staff. I can't thank them enough for the work that they put in putting this together.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
So that's about an 11% increase year over year from 2024 to 2025?
Previous year was 4.1 in 24 over 23. And so it was 11% from 24 to 25. So again, the previous year was 4.1%, and then we jumped to 11% this past year.
Do you have an estimate for this year?
For
What do you estimate the?
Estimate where it's going. It's a little. I mean, it's only we have stats on January, February. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll really come mid-year. We can make some predictions because those are June, July, August are our high months. If we start seeing some record numbers there, we can get an approximation.
Do you think it's primarily attributed to population?
I'd say population, demographic changes. I'll say that there's a lot of. Obviously, we have a lot of senior care facilities, nursing homes. We have those things growing. You have Meadow Valley growing out. We're getting a lot more calls over there. As I've mentioned a few months in a row, our Station 12, Station 11 was always primarily our busiest. Station 12 is starting to outpace, over on Silver Lake, and, just the area growing, those senior care facilities that really add to that call volume. So I think it's pretty safe to say that it's going to continue to grow. We're taking a hard look at our data from 25 and the previous years with a little bit of a analytics study that we have going on right now. Another component with that, which once we get that information and we share it with our board, we'll share with you, was we're incorporating a future growth projection, where we got all the developments working with John and the other planners at the other townships. We're adding that in so we can at least have an idea of how's the projected call volume. And again, it's based on facility type. So obviously, larger developments, multifamily developments, hotels, senior care, things like that. We're going to look at how that's going to affect us in the future. Because in a short period of time, and again, and this could change this year, Station 12 is becoming now one of our busier stations.
Right.
So, how is the growth and the addition of these facilities and other developments going to affect things? So it's definitely a primary focus of ours.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I mentioned to Chief when he presented this to the board, Molly, you probably appreciate this. If you look at page 10 of that report, you don't have to go back, but it's the heat map. And it absolutely highlights the assisted living and care centers. The bright yellow spots all over that map are definitely.
Yeah. In comparison from last year's report, Meadow Valley wasn't a yellow dot.
Yeah.
It wasn't yellow on last year's heat map, but this year it is. Now it's prominent there.
Yeah, that was probably the page that jumped out at me the most in the report,
Yeah.
so I appreciate as Denny said, very nice report, well put together. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Appreciate it.
Planning Department monthly report.
Good evening, John Syke, Planning Director. You have our monthly report in your packet. Just want to highlight a few things. Tomorrow evening, the Planning Commission has a host of items on their agenda. Sugar Plum Apartments is a apartment complex on Garfield between South Airport and Hammond Road. They are going to be coming in for an amendment to their special use permit to add 55 units to that complex. Currently, there's 172 units there. Also, we have Cherryland Electric coming in for a site plan review. That's for their new headquarters on the north side of Rennie School, west of US 31. That is really based on the build-out for the utilities, water sewer lines, storm sewer, as well as the new road between Rennie School and Meadow Lane to the north. So it's we did get some input from Jennifer, our latest update on working with the Olson Foundation on some of their infrastructure improvements. But that site plan, should it go forward, is going to be contingent upon that infrastructure being in place. It's critical because there's 2 driveways that are proposed on that new road going between Rennie School and Meadow Lane. And I just want to point out one very small item, but certainly one that's hopefully will have some improvement, and that's the Chick-fil-A driveway. We'll be getting an adjustment. It'll be altered so that there'll be a left in and right in into that driveway, but there will only be a right out. So that is going to be reconfigured, and due to a lot of accidents that have been happening there. So we kind of knew that at the beginning when we were going through site plan, but some of that was permitted by MDOT, so that was really kind of out of our control, but it's nice to see that they've recognized that they permanently need to do something. I don't think it'll completely eliminate people from going out of there and making a left turn. Those don't always work 100%, but it will certainly help to adjust the flow coming out of that and hopefully be safer for people in that area.
John, they have one downstate like that, but that only allows the right-hand turn because they were having the same problem. They ended up putting like almost a median right there where left-hand turn lane goes.
Yeah, we have the Burger King that is over there at Garfield and it's on South Airport. There's a right in, right out only, and it's even marked for no left turns, and it's got a physical median concrete with curb. This one will be because of some of the utilities there, they won't be able to do it exactly full concrete, but there will be some of it with some painted stripes. We checked with MDOT on that because we were envisioning that same type of median type of configuration, and apparently they can't make that work. But at least it'll help somewhat to improve that.
Right.
And of course, we're still trying to work on our connection at the back between the mall and Lowe's as well. That hasn't been lost yet.
Thank you.
That it? Okay. Any
Thank you.
questions for John?
Thanks,
Okay,
John.
Thanks, John. All right, Parks and Rec report.
Good evening, Sean Kehoe, Park Steward, Garfield Township. You all got the report in your packet, so I'm sure you've all read it. So I'll just highlight a couple things that, or talk about a couple things that are highlights, and then a couple things that may have changed in the report since you received it. So we're kind of coming to the end of the slow time for parks, so we're anticipating things picking up here with our weekly patrols, making sure that, you know, the homeless have not taken up residency in the parks and so forth. We've already started to take care of some down trees that we just recently found on a couple of the trails that haven't been used. The boardwalks are starting to melt. There's still a lot of ice and so forth on those, so it's going to be, once things warm up a little bit better, those will probably be taken care of. At Silver Lake, there is a gate that we need to replace over there in the dog park that it's got 3 broken welds on it. It's probably just people trying to force it open in the snow. It's kind of the gate that goes between the small dog park and the large dog park, and that gets traversed by dog owners frequently, and I think probably just age and the fact that they've tried and force it in the snow has broken a few welds on that, so we're gonna have to take care of that. I think this was in the last report. I was not here at the last meeting, but the final design for River East has been decided upon, so that's good. The RFPs, I talked to Jennifer for the bathrooms and the parking lot have gone out, and she's finishing up the RFP for the pole barn, so hopefully soon we start hearing from some contractors on those items. We have wood duck boxes at Silver Lake and Boardman River Valley, and I actually cleaned those out this week before the ice would melt so I could get out to them without having to put on waders and everything. But there's evidence that all the wood duck boxes are being used. There's shells left over in all of them, and I think a raptor probably got into one of them because there's a duck wing in there. But they're all being used by birds of some form or another, so that's cool. And then Miller Creek, we're still keeping an eye on our local beaver population down there that seem to be taking advantage of the poplar trees. And then the last thing in here, Buffalo Ridge Trail, we walked through there. The trees look like that are in the tubes and the fencing for the cedars look like they're all doing really well. Most of them seem like they all survived the winter and they're upright and still growing north, so that's good. The only other thing is in the all applicable park section of the report, I think next year what we're going to do is reduce our garbage tote availability to the public in the parks because we saw a lot of or a fair amount of use this year of parks that don't get daily activity, like behind Aldi's, behind PetSmart, those type of things where those trails are used minimally once the snow hits, that there should be minimal garbage in them. And what we're finding in some of those locations is that they're becoming easy drops for people with household garbage, and they're dumping garbage bags of household trash in there and filling up the totes, and it's not necessarily our obligation to pay for their household trash. So with minimal activity on some of those trails, we're probably going to just pull some of those totes and store them over the winter and talk to Green Life and see if they can reduce our charges for those number of totes that we decide to pull out of there. So, any questions?
Where on Miller Creek are they damming up?
If you turn into right on the corner where it goes into Aldi's and it goes behind Aldi's on the west side, if you pull straight ahead, right there where it goes down, straight down to the pond, okay. If you walk down that trail with the pond on your right and you keep going down the trail going back towards the meadows, back there's a pond actually the creek crosses under the trail, and if you go down, there's an old 2-track that goes down to a little pond back in there.
Wow.
And they've got that creek all dammed up and
Okay.
doing what beavers do.
Yeah, oh, yeah. All right, thanks, Sean.
All right, thank you.
Clerk's report.
I submitted my clerk's report in writing. Are there any questions on that? We've just been uploading data to our auditor's website that they send us, their SureLink, and they're going to be here next week and just preparing for that.
All right. Any questions for the clerk? Okay, Township Manager.
The Frankie Road project that we brought up before, an update is that the design of the road is ending the end of that phase, and it appears that the cost is going to come in a lot lower than initially anticipated, which is good news, but I don't have the official figures yet. That'll come back to you at some point. I've also learned that they're considering like pedestrian islands along that route to improve safety. I also connected TART and the superintendent to TCAPS to have a conversation about funding for a crosswalk. They had looked to the township to partner on that project, and the CIP committee decided that there's already a sidewalk that was put in when Myers remodeled, and we felt that that was a safe sidewalk, otherwise we wouldn't have recommended that originally. And so TCAPS wanted to put a sidewalk along the north side of the parking lot near the swamp and stuff to curve to the car wash. Well, because we felt our sidewalk was safe enough, my recommendation through the committee to the superintendent was work with TART on, going from where that sidewalk ends at the Beta stop to where a crosswalk would be. So let's focus on getting an engineer to do conceptual drawings, and then you could take those to Myers to see if they're willing to partner with you on that part. So they're meeting, I will be out of town on Friday, but they're meeting on Friday to discuss that. But I'd already met with the superintendent like a month ago and talked about things. That's happening with Frankie Road. Windy Hills development off of Herkner. The supervisor and I attended a meeting with the Grand Traverse Band engineer, DPW, Elmer's, and a couple other entities, mainly because we wanted to educate ourselves and just learn what's going on there. Very enlightening. The tribe has an initial phase of that project that was done and hooked up to our systems before we, to use your term, got put in jail last year. And they're looking to really fast track getting all these other housing units built and connected to our system. Apparently there's 48, I believe, residents that are looking for homes. Wow. So there's a real push to get those done and get them in there. The supervisor told them that we'll do all that we can to make sure that things get in front of this board that we've got to approve once they become available to us, that we'll do our part to get things through our channels. Human resource related items. The ethics committee has met already to talk about our ethics policy review and potential update if needed. We're going to follow up very soon again on that and hopefully get that finalized. Working on a vehicle use policy, a privacy policy, an employment performance evaluation policy, because I plan to implement that in August for staff. And I also have learned in the past that when you ask managers to do evaluations, they need to have some training to know what to do. So I'm trying to identify some good training that I could provide to them as they're going to assist in this process of doing evaluations. Also a discipline policy and a computer use policy. And some of these policies are being done because they're being pulled out of our handbook that's being reviewed, and instead of living in the handbook, they're actually going to be standalone policies. So some of those are being created because of that reason. And then I tell you, time just seems to fly. My intent was to do an internal staff training on a lot of these policies, sexual harassment, ethics, at the end of this month. I don't think I'm going to fit it in. I'd really like to get these policies in front of the board, get approved, and then hold a training in April. So that's kind of my new timeline to do that. So.
What are you doing in your spare time?
Yeah, whatever comes up from the past and try to get through it, and yeah. Time management, I guess.
Good job, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, a couple things. Chris mentioned Windy Hills. We're glad to hear that they didn't, when we couldn't get them water for a year, we were afraid they were going to start drilling wells, and they did not do that. So there is all going to be our water and sewer, and it's nice to see. And just a fun fact, when the planning director and I were looking over some minutes earlier about another issue we're having, we're looking at board minutes from 2000, and Windy Hill's original approval was on those 2000 minutes. So that project's been sitting there for 26 years, and it's just now getting completed. So I didn't think it was that long ago, but I do remember when it came in front of the planning commission 26 years ago. So anyway, a couple things on my report. Border review. I'm drinking from a fire hose the last 2 days on border review. So if we're still going on downstairs. I'll rejoin when we're done here. Chris and I met with Trevor down at TC Connect. TC Tourism, excuse me. Finalized the plans. We already approved the budget for the fireworks for this year. It's going to be a huge, they're basically doubling their display for the 250th anniversary of the country, and it's on a Saturday this year, so it should be pretty big day down there on Saturday, the 4th of July. So we met with him, and he was happy that we were obviously on board with him again this year and partner with him. And I've asked Chris we went to the MTA luncheon last week, and a really good presentation on DNR grants, and I think it's an opportunity. We'll maybe start pursuing more of those. I think when they recapped them for the county, I think we were one of the few townships this year that didn't. We've done them in the past. We've got some nice grants from them, but some more opportunity there, and so we're going to start partnering more with them, hopefully, on those. So that's about all I got. So, any questions for me? All right, hearing none, we'll go on to new business this evening.
Finished first, but there's
There's nothing in unfinished, so nothing under unfinished. We'll go to new. Item 8A, public hearing, consideration of amendment to Article 9, the Grand Traverse Common Development Regulations, Resolution 2026-08-T, page 69 in your packet. Anybody going to introduce this at all, Chris, or are we just move on?
Our planning director.
Okay.
So this is an amendment that's proposed for the Grand Traverse Commons development regulations. So that is essentially, those development regulations function as the zoning ordinance for the commons. And it's a joint effort between the city and Garfield Township. This ordinance, it's a little bit different than our zoning ordinance. It recognizes a lot of the existing built landscape that's there in terms of the buildings, and there are development envelopes within those areas. So this area is focused on the Recreation and Cultivation District, which is essentially the historic Barnes Park. And the amendment is proposed to do two different things. One is it's to allow some flexibility in the language there in terms of allowing some sheds outside the building envelope. So that's where the community garden is located there. It'll give them some flexibility on the number and the sizing of those sheds to help support that community garden. Those items, even though they're outside that building footprint or that building envelope, will still be reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office in terms of context with the historic Barnes Park. And then the other item is just a map change to that, to the boundaries. It's kind of tweaked it. One of the things that, there's a illustration there in your packet, and it's the red line that kind of goes around that area. One of the things that was adjusted to do was to kind of go along the bike path that's kind of between the community garden and the barns, kind of following that. So it made it a little bit more easier to kind of see if you're out in the field where that boundary might be. But for the most part, it still captures that same area of what the development envelope, and these maps are throughout the whole development regulations. It's not just for the Barnes Park, but if you go building 50 and throughout the whole commons, you'll see these development envelopes, and they pretty much cluster where there was some existing historic buildings to ensure that there's not, that stuff is kind of contained within those particular areas. So this is an amendment. This was originally brought to us by the rec authority to make these adjustments. It went through the Joint Planning Commission. There was a public hearing held back in January of this year. You're kind of on a concurrent path here with the city of Traverse City. The city commission is going through the same process to consider the amendment to the development regulations.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anyone who would like to come forward and speak to this item, now's the time to do so.
Okay.
It does not look like this is a controversial item tonight, so I see no one coming forward. Go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to the board, and I guess before we do that, John, just one resolution covers both things you mentioned? Okay, thank you.
I make a motion that Resolution 2026-08-T, adopting Amendment Number 4 to the Grand Traverse Commons Development Regulation, including proposed amendments in Section 9.03.f and Figure 9.09 be adopted.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we adopt Resolution 2026-08-T as read. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Ann, can we have a roll, please?
Okay, Schmuckel,
Yes.
I heard two of you for second.
But to Lori.
Gonna give it to Lori? Okay, Lab,
Yes.
McCumber,
Yes.
L. McManus,
Yes.
Gustinelli,
Yes.
and J. McManus.
Yes, thank you. Okay, item 8B, consideration of a MISTA CDBG grant for housing infrastructure. The Flats at Carriage Commons, request for proposals.
Good evening again. Just want to first of all give you an update on this grant. There was, application was made last fall for, the township was applying on behalf of the Traverse City Housing Commission for a $1.168 million grant to install water main infrastructure at the Flats at Carriage Commons, which is going to benefit both the continued phasing and development of the apartments within the flats, but also the Habitat for Humanity homes that will be built there as well in the future. That authorizing resolution authorized the supervisor with the abilities to go through the grant application process, including the grant agreement and oversight of grant activities, and then also be the certifying officer for the environmental review process. Quite frankly, these are federal funds, so there's a lot of details to the grant. So this evening, we're at a point now where the township needs to identify a developer for the actual grant. In this case, essentially, it's most likely going to be the Housing Commission to do that on behalf of the township, but we have to go through this process. So there are actually two RFPs, the one that was in your packet and then the one that we've added in to your agenda, and I appreciate your consideration of that as well. The first one is for a developer. So it is a request for proposal that would be issued, that would receiving those proposals to be the developer. So that's the one that actually oversees the installation of the project, the water main, and meets all the federal requirements that are part of that grant. Before that can be started, though, in terms of the actual project of the installation of the water main, there has to be an environmental review conducted on that site. And that is what the second RFP is for, is to retain a environmental consultant. We've been authorized by MISTA to go forward with that. There was some exemption requirements. Basically, there's an administrative portion of that grant, and that administration funds as part of that grant will cover the cost of this environmental review. But similar to the developer RFP, the consulting environmental consultant, it needs to be secured. That also has to be approved by MISTA. But that process will take some time, anywhere between 60 to 90 days to go through that environmental. So that's kind of the one that's probably most critical at this point to get that moving.
So do you need the 8B1 done first, or do you need the other one done first?
It doesn't,
It
either
doesn't
one
matter.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
I thi-
Got it.
Okay. Bring it back to the board for your,
I make a motion that we approve and issue the attached request for proposals for water main installation at the Flats Carriage at Carriage Commons in the Beta/TCHC Transit Oriented Mixed Use PUD.
Support.
motion made and supported to approve the issue of the attached request for proposals as stated. Any further discussion on that motion? I don't believe this requires a roll, does it? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I make a motion that to approve and issue the attached request for proposal for an environmental review as required by the Housing Infrastructure Grant for the Flats at Carriage Commons.
Support.
Motion made and supported to approve the issue and approve and issue the attached request for proposals for the environmental review for the housing infrastructure grant for the Flats at Carriage Commons. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Just, and those will have to be, those will come back to you. Obviously, you'll have to make those selections. We also, before that happens, have to get Mishta to sign off on that. But those will be coming forward at a,
You don't need any signatures right now to move forward though, right?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right, item 8C, consideration of the universal power supply system replacement for Township Hall. Page 76 in your packet. Chris?
Yeah, there's a cover letter that's included with the agenda item that kind of explains the issue. Maintenance staff became aware of some battery failures on that system, which is in the lower level of our hall. And they contacted some commercial electricians, electrical companies, to get quotes on rectifying that issue. And basically, the system is original to this building, which is 20-some years old, and the batteries that are in the system are roughly 12 years old. So the batteries are failing and swelling and creating a dangerous situation. So each company said, or I shouldn't say each company, we learned through the company's conversation is that our system, it's difficult to get battery or replacement parts because it's significantly old, and you can't guarantee that if we were to replace the batteries, that would actually work on the day that it's needed because it's so old. So their recommendation, of course, was, they want to make money, but they think for reliability and to actually have the system work when you need it is to replace it. The Building and Ground Committee weighed out 3 quotes that were included in the packet. And just to explain, 2 of them quoted 18 kVA systems, and one of them quoted 18 and a 12 kVA. And what we've learned is that basically dictates the amount of time that the backup system maintains power during an outage. 9 minutes versus, I think, like 15. The committee, looking at the quotes, felt that OSC would be the company that we'd like to go with for replacement because they are a Garfield Township business off of Hammond Road. And then also conversation was that, the more time that we'd have to respond to an outage and staff to realize what's going on and get on their computer and save data, the more time was better. And that's why the request for the 18 kVA system through OSC. I can tell you that our generator's tested, I believe, weekly, and also it has been fairly reliable. So we have no indication that, it's failed ever, since I've been here or what staff is telling me. So you could take a gamble and go with the lesser amount system, but it's definitely not a guarantee in the future. And I think, what we work on, day to day on the computer is something maybe more valuable than others. But the day is really going to be difficult when we have an outage and you lose something that's really important that you've been working on. And this, the longer time will you know, when you are faced with these situations that you don't normally deal with, your brain has to okay, what's going on, and then what do I need to do as an employee? And not many people are going to think, oh, jump on my computer, until we start talking about what's going on and what we need to do. So we're human beings, and sometimes it takes time to process things. So the longer the time frame is, that was what the committee advocated for. So that's all I have on that topic.
Yeah, I mean, the system is 25 years old and original to the building, so, yeah, I mean, batteries might look good, but there's no guarantee it's even working anymore, so at this point, so.
I'd like to make a motion that the supervisor be authorized to sign and accept option number 2 in the quote from OSC Incorporated for $29,650.
Can I ask a question first?
What's that now?
Can I ask a question before we go to the motion?
After a second, you can.
Okay,
Somebody has to support the motion before we discuss.
okay. Support.
Okay, motion is made and supported to approve the supervisor to sign the authorization for $29,650. Any further discussion on the motion?
Thank you, Joe. Is this primarily just for data backup?
So
Or what else what other reasons do we need a power backup for 15 minutes?
our understanding is that that goes to a panel connected to various offices within the township, and according to the former supervisor, it keeps the electrical outlets operational. So any device connected to it, like a computer, it keeps the power on for that time frame. So the lights will go off. If the generator doesn't kick on, all the lights will go off, because the battery backup is for the most important pieces at the township. Computers, data. So it really just maintains power, but at a limited capacity, not everything that you see here.
So if you're
Were we
working on a
also
major,
looking at a data storage project and potentially cloud storage?
Yep, that's
Wouldn't-
that's a whole nother
wouldn't
story that
that
we.
Yeah, as far as
Needing this?
as far as the server goes, that's a future agenda.
Aren't these connected, though?
So it would keep the server room power on, so it would keep that running for 15 minutes. And then, the important thing is that the staff save all their work, and then you shut the server down. So that way, when the power comes back on, and it doesn't potentially create an issue with that. So it really buys you time during an outage when the generator doesn't work.
if
And
you're
it's
working on
limited
something
power.
major and the power does go out, you have an opportunity to save that rather than lose it.
Correct.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm used to everything I'm working on continuously being saved. So to me, in this day and age, this is not a current problem.
Okay.
Depending on what system you're using for backup for your data. But that's how I'm accustomed to working.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes, like Word will auto-save things. Our BSNA system, to my knowledge, doesn't back up. We have to do manual backups.
That's the BSNA piece. Now, the new BSNA software that we're spending
A lot of money on.
$100,000 on, is that in the cloud?
Yes, and to my knowledge, it has that functionality where we don't have to go back it up ourselves manually. It's automated. That's what I hear. I don't know 100% sure.
However, we have to keep the history data on a server here in order to access it.
Yes, so to carry on what she said is that we're going to have to keep both versions, because everything that we're doing currently doesn't automatically transfer into the new system as accessible. So someday when we have to look at data from the past, we're going to say, well, time out, I got to log onto the old system, the historical system, and access that data, wherever it lives, if it's going to live on a cloud server or in-house. So there's still some clunkiness to it, not perfect.
We just found that out.
It just seems a little
Redundant?
2016.
I can't argue with you about that. I just, yeah.
Does it also keep, like, I don't know, say our emergency exits working, our fire alarms, like that would be
Correct.
important for that time period if there's an emergency. So I think there's also a safety aspect to it as well. not just outlets, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
the
anything wired.
exit signs are battery. I believe the lights probably come on with the alarm. So, yes, critical services would be maintained for a period of time,
For 9 minutes, 15 minutes.
15
Yeah.
minutes.
Well,
Enough time to get out.
Two.
Enough
but
time to get out if you need to.
signs work even if you don't have this sort of,
Correct.
yeah.
Oh, they do, they're just,
Yeah, those
The
are
battery,
the
yeah,
same
they-
thing.
The lights, though, I think
They're
are
battery?
activated by the.
Well,
These
ask
are,
our
these are all
fire
battery
chief, right?
backups.
Are these
So the
battery?
power
We'll
goes
have
out,
battery
these come on.
backups.
oh, okay, well, that's
They're
good.
all battery.
And they were just updated.
They Just got tested.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
So are you making the case that maybe we don't need this, or
Well,
is there something else? What are
I
you?
think it deserves looking at how we store our data overall and asking the question about both projects at once, because I think they're interrelated.
I haven't been involved in the decision, so I'm not on that committee, so
Me neither.
I would defer to Chris to see if it's something we can.
So non-BSNA data that's on the server already saved would back up in case there was an issue with the server through our company. So that's backed up. But day-to-day work, like if you were jumping on the computer and doing an Excel document, during a power outage, that could just shut the power off to your computer and corrupt the file that you're working on potentially. And I think the purpose of the backups is to not allow that to happen. And like to your point, I don't know that Excel auto saves unless somebody goes in and does that. Now, that's something that we'd have to train everybody to do, because you can change those settings.
Well, because we pay for Microsoft 365, which is automatically in the cloud. So when you are working on your Excel spreadsheet, it is automatically backing up to OneDrive.
So I think.
Unless for some reason you're only using it on your desktop, which would be a poor practice all the way around.
Yeah, guilty. And the only reason, yeah. Yeah, when you use like, the Word equivalent to Gmail or the Office 365, the functionality of the online versions are not as robust as the desktop. So it doesn't offer the same thing. They're very limited, but they're usable, for simple things. And you're right, I'm sure that automatically records things because it's in the cloud and it's doing that, but not necessarily with the desktop stuff. And I know there's a good share of desktop-related work that we do here, and it's probably rarely on Office 365 on the cloud.
Well, I'd say you're at a bigger risk of your PC crashing using your desktop saving than our electricity going completely out.
Possibly. I mean, these are all like what-ifs, you just don't
But
know.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just think it's connected to the other one, and it's a lot of money. It's not an insignificant amount.
No, you're right.
So
I'm sorry.
is there somebody that can get us an answer to this? I mean, I'm not a computer person, so you had to talk me into using these things.
Yeah, I could do a review on how we're doing things and determine if we're doing the best practices to where they're auto-saving and, and if they're auto-saving every 30 minutes, maybe we change that to 5 minutes. So it'd have to be a review of our practices, what people are doing and what softwares they're using, have that functionality. So I have no problem doing that if the board wants me to.
But I have a problem with what happens if we have lose power, like, next week,
Yeah, and.
before you even implement this. I know it's the what-ifs.
Is the server, you're working on a server, this replacement, who's recommending this?
These are the companies that came and gave us quotes.
Okay, is there a tech company recommending we maintain this system? I mean, it is a 25-year-old system.
So we actually got with our IT company initially because we didn't know who would manage that. And they're the ones who recommended that we get with a commercial electrician to further assess it and make recommendations and get quotes. So that's the progression that
It
we
came
went
from the
through.
IT department all the way
Okay,
down.
yeah, that was my
So
question.
somebody independent of who's selling us
Right.
this product.
Right, the IT company.
The IT company.
I'm good either way. I mean, I'm good with acting on it. What, is our system operational now, or don't we know?
We don't know.
Well, you mentioned that there was a safety issue with the batteries melting down or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah.
so
we
those, so the ones, there was an assessment done on those and a bunch of batteries removed from the system to keep it somewhat functional. And, you know, I don't know how long it would last in a backup, but we're just kind of hoping for the best. And
Putting a
then-
Band-Aid on it right now.
We really are. And then also, when you look at the quotes, I want to say that it's a 6-week turnaround time for ordering and delivery. So, you know, that's just adding more time onto resolving it. And that, it sounds like all the companies have the same turnaround time.
I'd be all for it if this BSNA requires it, right? Because that's really important data, and we can't lose that.
Okay.
It's really important. It's our responsibility to have that data. But I would also say that it's a really poor practice, and we should train everybody that works here to not use the hard drive on your PC to be your backup. Because that's just a poor practice. Your PC could, you need to put it
Good luck with that.
on the network or in the cloud.
Yeah, so mine is set up to sync, like my files will sync to my OneDrive, but you have limited space. You know, not everything's going to work. You know, what will be coming for you fairly soon when we get some quotes, you know, to carry on to a conversation we had last week about our server, is that it's pretty critical. We didn't know that. It's 5 years old. And right now, we're getting costs for doing the cloud-based server through Microsoft, or Amazon offers that, or in-house server. And what they told us last Thursday is that storage costs are crazy through the roof. So if you want the peace of mind of being able to conduct day-to-day business when you lose your internet and stuff like that, it's going to come at a cost of storage. And then you're at the mercy of the companies asking you to pay annual licensing fees and all that. So there's a trade-off. You know, what's important is going to have to be what we make the decision on.
Right.
But we're just waiting on the company to provide us with that quote, and then I hope to bring you that pretty, as soon as we get it.
So if we're not here and the power goes off, you've got 15 minutes. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, this'll work. If we're not here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the power goes off, we still lose everything? Or your deal is, if you're working on it
Correct.
right there,
Yeah.
then you are here.
When you're in the middle of something is where it matters the most.
Yeah.
Lori makes valid points. I mean, like in the 21st century, if you could have automated backup systems, but I think there would have to be a review to be, and maybe some training changes. With a cloud server, everything would no longer live on a K drive where everybody's familiar. Everybody would have to be trained to untrain themselves and trained to do things through like a SharePoint. And accessing SharePoint versus just clicking on a file on the K drive is a little bit more difficult with sharing files and stuff like that. So there's a learning curve that they made us aware of and that I'm aware of. So that also has to be considered as well. So there's a lot to weed through here.
Yep.
Is there a possibility that those computers can be set up to automatically save right as you're working on it without anybody having to be trained to hit the button and do whatever they need to do?
I think it's only the data that people save right to their computer. We save it onto the server, everything's saved on there, and it's backed up daily. Some people save things directly to their computer, which is what you will lose. If you have a file you're working on your computer that you have not saved to the server, that's what you're going to lose.
Can we make it so that they don't save them to their computer, but it goes automatically to the cloud?
If we go that route, yeah, it could be set up that way.
And would that solve the problem, or? No.
I don't know enough about how that data is shared to say that in a power outage that it's foolproof. That would be something I'd have to ask questions.
But this is foolproof.
We know that it'll keep your power on for 15 minutes according to the companies.
We can't lose the data.
We can't lose, we certainly can't lose the BSNA data. If that's, I mean, we're responsible for all of that history. But yeah.
It's backed up. I mean, the data is backed up. The BSNA data is backed up.
So that's not connected to this project.
I don't think so. I
No,
mean,
no,
because
it's unrelated.
Whatever's on your computer, if you've saved it on your computer, we save everything to our server now, and that's backed up daily. So that is, data is saved.
And all the BSNA data is backed up.
Manually, like we have to manually say, back this up.
And I think this is a really high cost to pay for people working on something that's only saved on their personal PC, which is not a good practice in general.
I mean, we don't know how long the system hasn't been working, if it isn't working now. I guess is, do we want to research this more before is it still a system that's not 2016, using Lori's term? I mean, is it something, if someone were building this building new today, would they put this system in?
That's a great question.
Or is it, or, we're replacing a 25-year-old system. Is it a 25-year-old system that we really don't need anymore? I don't know. I mean, I know the emergency lights are battery operated. If power goes out, they're going to come on. The alarms are battery operated. They're going to come on. This is strictly to save data, from my understanding.
Right.
But you did say IT said to talk, our IT people.
Our IT referred us to contact electrical contractors, like commercial, and then have them assess it and give us quotes.
To replace the system.
To replace the
Did we ask IT if we needed the system anymore?
I don't know.
That would be more my question. Is it technology we still need? If it is, I have no problem approving it. I mean, is there a risk in waiting till the next meeting?
I will rescind my motion. If you could get those information to us that this is something we definitely do need.
Yep.
And if Lori rescinds her second,
Yeah.
then we know for sure if this is something that we definitely do need.
Okay. I can do some homework, certainly.
With that, I'm more concerned not about the data loss, but more about
Urgency.
the other systems that, like the elevator, does it keep the elevator powered in an emergency? So can you look into what it actually would power during that time?
Yep.
Because to me, it's more of like a safety thing.
Does
That's
this
why I
system
mentioned like
run-
the fire alarms and stuff. Like, to me, I feel like it's more about that than the data,
Well,
but.
believe me, I'm with you on safety. I don't think this system would have enough power to run the elevator. I don't think. Let's find out.
Yeah, life safety issues is what you're saying.
Yeah, just
But
like.
as far as like
I don't
exit
know.
lights, and the chief could back me up, these are all battery operated. When the power goes out, the lights and the exit lights are going to stay lit. It has nothing to do with this backup system whatsoever. They are, I've dealt with these for years. That's why
Yeah,
there's test
they're
buttons on
separate.
the side. They have their own battery packs in them, and they have to be tested on a regular
Would
basis.
we be asking a lot to have it done for the next meeting?
No.
Okay.
So we could deal with this in 2 weeks and then know
Exactly
what
yeah.
this system runs, and is it a technology and a system that really, we know we're
Exactly.
gonna be dealing with a server soon, and it's even more money than this. We have to replace the server. We
Right.
know that's coming. And that's the difference. That's where your data's gonna get lost, is if that server fails. I don't, if we think we can just, we've gotten by for 25 years, and we don't know how long. When did the batteries start smelling and go bad?
A few weeks ago.
So we're already been a few weeks into it.
Yeah, probably a little bit longer than that.
You
So
took
we
those
we disconnected.
I was gonna say, you took those batteries
We
out.
did, yeah.
Okay.
They were, and I researched, like in my letter, it says that when they swell, it could be to a failure, it could be to old age. There's a number of reasons that it could do this.
Okay.
And so we don't know what the cause was. I'm gonna guess old.
I think
So
I'd
they're
feel
on
better
it,
knowing
yeah.
that somebody in the IT company or whoever says, yeah, you really need this system. This is what it powers, and this is what good it provides you. If it's strictly data that we should be backing up, maybe it's another way to handle it.
Right.
So Denise rescinded her motion to
Yep.
table this item.
Table till next meeting.
and Lori, are you okay with that change? So the motion's made and supported to table this issue, have Chris bring us back more data for our next meeting. Now, is there any further discussion on that motion? All right, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for the discussion.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay.
All right, item D.
More work for you, sorry.
Item D, now
Delegate
we've
it to
got
our
one we want
maintenance
to try to
staff.
make money on. Consideration of seeking a park plan grant for Township Hall flood detection sensors, Resolution 2026-09-T. I'll go ahead and comment on this one. Chris came and we have, Michigan Park Plan provides free water sensors to anybody that is a member of Park Plan to detect water. It's a safety and it's a helps prevent damage and things. Unfortunately, the systems in a lot of basements where there's concrete walls, they don't communicate well and they go offline a lot. So we're going to relocate the sensors we have in the basement to some of our other locations, maybe our new bathrooms at our parks or whatever. But we feel like we need to install a direct installed system in the basement that won't fail and won't go offline. So we weren't sure, since Park Plan supplies them free, the grant cycle's up next week for Park Plan to apply for grants. So I contacted the Park Plan today and explained it, and this is absolutely a project that would be considered for grant. So we're on a deadline of the 15th to apply, and all grant applications for Park Plan require resolution. So we're bringing this to the board tonight to ask for the approval for us to apply for the $1,289 grant to install the system.
Did you say the ones that are in the basement now can be used elsewhere?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And they're supplied free of charge by Park Plan, but it's just that they don't communicate well in a basement on concrete. So, and we have a lot down there that we can't let get wet.
Okay.
Voting files, voting equipment, our server.
Absolutely.
This battery backup system, that all those things. It's important we have these sensors.
I make a motion that we.
Did you,
Oh,
Chris?
I just have a quick question. So in the quote for EPS, one little difference too is this is hardwired into the EPS system where there's somebody there 24/7 monitoring it. So just like a fire alarm or a burglar alarm, if there's water detected, it's going to go to their call center, and they're going to get a hold of us and say, oh, by the way, we've got this alert, you need to go check it out. So that adds a little bit of improved reliability as well, or efficiency.
Chief needs to check it out then, right? Water. I'll make a motion that Resolution 2026-09-T, authorizing the township manager to apply for the risk reduction grant through Michigan Township participating plan for the purchase of flood detection sensors through EPS at a cost of $1,289 be adopted.
Support.
Motion made and supported to approve Resolution 2026-09-T for the grant application for water sensors. Any further discussion on that motion?
Now, that is a question that I have. Would EPS call the fire, or would they call you, or?
Call me.
Or
Okay,
clerk.
They'll call whoever we tell them to call.
Yes.
okay, all right,
So-
thank you.
We'll put Matt on that list. No, okay. Any other further discussion on that? Hearing none. Ann, can we have a roll since that's a resolution?
Schmuckel.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes.
L. McManus.
Yes.
Lab.
Yes.
And J. McManus.
Yes. All right, thank you. Now our second public comment. We're going to open up public comment. Anybody have anything they'd like to let us know? I don't see anybody moving forward again, so we'll go ahead and close public comment. Any other business to come before the board? If none, we stand adjourned.